Hey yo, and what's up everybody? Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel once again today. It's been a very, very busy day in the world of pro wrestling. Two tremendously huge stories coming out of the World Wrestling Entertainment world, and we, as always, are here to talk about it right here and right now on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. So, let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, thank you guys so much once again for tuning in to the channel. I am Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV. We have got two really, really big breaking news stories that just hit the pavement, and we're going to hit the ground running with it, and we are going to kick it off with the latest that has literally just happened just moments ago, and I got the news right from the man himself, as we've had a huge title change at a Madison Square Garden house show going on tonight, just minutes away from where I sit right now, as the phenomenal AJ Styles, man, is your new United States champion. He went one-on-one with Kevin Owens tonight at Madison Square Garden. The video footage is all over the internet. It's been posted up and down Twitter, all on Instagram. Go check it out. The place went crazy for this moment, and I could not be happier. AJ Styles. Nobody on the roster is more deserving of a huge historic moment. Madison Square Garden is where history happens in the WWE. And yes, I know it was not a televised thing, but there had to have been cameras there. I'm sure we will see footage of it. They know this was going to go down. They are going to show us probably on SmackDown what went down between the champ and the former face of America, AJ Styles, the new face of America. He took to Facebook Live immediately following his match, letting the world know and using the opportunity to hype the fact that you should go to house shows, because at the end of the day, you just never know what's going to happen, and things like this can happen at a house show. And I was going to be there, but I shit the bed and I forgot to get the tickets. It's just one of the dates that slipped my mind. I had so much going on with HOG. We got a lot of stuff coming up in August that we are going to go and attend, and I've been doing a lot of live events and a lot of, stuff to get footage and cool shit for the channel, as you guys know, but I did not get to buy these tickets, and now I am kicking myself in the ass very, very hard, because I would have been sitting there in my favorite place in the world, Madison Square Garden, one of the absolutely most beautiful venues in the world, the mecca of pro wrestling. It is, like I said, where history happens, and AJ Styles gets to add his name to the list that is just absolutely astronomical. And the names on the list of historic moments, from Bruno Sammartino to Hulk Hogan to Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena, all the way through and up and down the echelon and the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, have all graced that stage and have done big things. And I couldn't be happier for AJ Styles. On the flip side, because I have to complain about something, I do not understand why they would do this at a house show, except for the fact that it was Madison Square Garden. AJ Styles definitely deserving of it. I'm not saying anything that way. It's just, you've been building this rivalry, this matchup between him and Kevin Owens on SmackDown. You've been building towards it and building towards it. You had AJ earn his spot back into the Battle Royal, and then he would eventually go on and win the Battle Royal to get a shot at the champion, which I thought was supposed to be at Battleground, but they took advantage of the situation and they changed gears on the fly, and they did this tonight, and I'm ecstatic about it. I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy for him. I just wish I could have been there, man. It would have been absolutely breathtaking. I get goosebumps just thinking about the fact that it happened at all. And to, not to jump on the bandwagon, and I just want to help AJ Styles in his point with his interview, which is, You guys need to understand something. If you're not going to house shows, you're missing the real WWE. You need to understand that at a house show, they are not handcuffed. They are not, put into a box by the restraints of having to put on a TV show. The house shows are not television shows, and they are not produced in the same way. Sure, there's interview segments, and, certain guys will come out and hit the ring and take the mic and try to, cut their promo and do their shit. It's practice. It's practice for them. And at a house show, it's very likely you could see something that you might never even get to see on the actual Monday Night Raw or SmackDown shows. There are fans out there right now that have seen Eric Rowan as a clown. We have not seen that yet, unless you've gone to a house show and seen that. There's at least 20,000 people that tonight can say they saw AJ Styles win the United States Championship from Kevin Owens because they were at that house show. And a house show, as I was trying to say, is pure wrestling. It's WWE at its finest, because they're not trying to be a TV show. They're just putting on a wrestling show, and they're not constrained by time so much and commercial breaks and having to go to commercial. You'll see matchups you won't most likely see, and they're great. I went to a couple of house shows this year. My friends and I went to one at the end of last year at the Barclays Center. We had a fucking great time. The show was fantastic, and it was a Raw house show. And going to the house show, we were not anticipating having a good time because it was Raw. We were almost wishing that we were going to see a SmackDown show, but by the end of the night, we had a great time because a house show is actually way, way better and much more worth your time to go check out. This right here is case in point. Let's move on to the second story, and it hits a little bit closer to my heart, which is, it's been all over Twitter all day, and I didn't want to jump out and put a video out until there was a little bit more news, and I have a little bit more news on the reason why Austin Aries has been released from the WWE, and this, to me at least, is a travesty. I know to Austin Aries, he tweeted after the news had broke that this is a beautiful day, and he is very happy to no longer be part of that company. And this is what I got just a few short minutes ago. It was about a half hour ago. This article popped up. It's coming to us from WrestleZone.com. Nick Paglino reporting that, according to the PW Torch, Austin Aries requested his release from the company, and the WWE granted it. He was unhappy, apparently, being pigeonholed as a cruiserweight, and saw much more potential for himself outside the role he was given on 205 Live. I could not agree more with him on that point. He is absolutely 100% right. Austin Aries could hang with anybody on Raw, SmackDown. He could have went back to NXT. He was almost kind of wasted in the Cruiserweight division. If you were not going to crown him the Cruiserweight champion and make him the first guy to unseat the King of the Cruiserweights, then there was no reason for Austin Aries to be there. I fully expected him to end that rivalry as the Cruiserweight champion. If they really pigeonholed him in that light and they wanted to keep him in that role, then that's what they should have done. At least he'd be a champion and he wouldn't have a lot to gripe about until he dropped the belt, and you didn't know what to do with him at that point, and he would have probably wanted to go to the main show, and this would have happened then. But it's happening now. The report also added that one source noted Aries has had a bad attitude backstage in the WWE as of late, which might have made the decision easier for the WWE to grant him his release. It's likely Austin Aries will end up back on the indie scene following his release, and he could also end up back in Ring of Honor or GFW, formerly TNA, if he is offered a return deal from either of those companies. Aries' last appearance on WWE television was in a non-wrestling capacity on the June 20th edition of 205 Live, during which he revealed to us that he was not medically cleared to wrestle following nagging neck and leg injuries. Listen, I'm going to be frank. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to be Nick Nightmare. But that's all the old saying goes. I'm going to be frank about this. And the man is absolutely right. He is 100% justified in his feelings on this matter. Austin Aries is a AAA talent. Never mind that he calls himself AA. He absolutely is one of the top bananas on that squad, in the whole entire roster, up and down, as far as wrestling ability goes. Promotion The way he cuts his promos and the way he delivers on screen, second to none. Look at everything he did on the commentary table when he was injured, after Samoa Joe busted him up. He came in with a splash and fit right in on the commentary team. The man's got a great, sharp sense of humor. He's got a great wit. He's fantastic at everything he does. He's the greatest man that ever lived. It's a moniker he gave to himself, and it's one of the things that I've always loved about him. He absolutely lives that character, and he pulls it off. He backs it up, because everything he does is double A. I would say triple A, but he's double A, Austin Aries. And for him not to be utilized in a greater capacity by the WWE only proves further what we constantly keep saying on the show, which is that they have absolutely no idea what to do with truly talented wrestlers. If they do not fit the mold that they're actually looking for, they know that they're, popular amongst the crowd. They know that these particular superstars have wrestling ability, but they don't see beyond that glass ceiling that they put them underneath. He's a little guy, so he's not going to be pushed in the big guy main event. Neville is going to have the same exact problem once he drops the cruiserweight belt, and his run on the 205 live show is eventually going to come to an end. And this is almost what I think is going to happen to him. As far as the future for Austin Aries, I almost hope right now that he ends up going to Global Force Wrestling. Not that I'm really pulling for them one way or the other, but if you want to shake things up, with New Japan kicking things off on the West Coast and starting to tiptoe their way into the United States over there, they're going to make a big splash once things really start to get going. And then if you have Global Force pulling all of these guys that are disgruntled from the WWE, they're going to take Austin Aries and look at him in a much more serious light. He is a former TNA talent. He's going to come back to Jeff Jarrett. He worked underneath Jeff Jarrett and that regime the first time, which is my first experience and my first exposure to him at all. And I immediately was drawn to this character. I fell in love with the character of Austin Aries. He's that arrogant heel prick that just makes me love pro wrestling, and it's the type of character that I would have always wanted to be. And just look at what he calls himself. Like I said, the greatest man that ever lived. Just like CM Punk would call himself the best in the world. I often said that he reminded me a lot of a smaller CM Punk. There's a lot of similarities that you could draw between the two, and he's always been one of my favorites. If he returned to Global Force Wrestling, he would be welcome back. And if they gave him a mic and allowed him to air his grievances, they could definitely really start to kick things in the right direction. And if you have him start to feud with some of these newer guys that, I don't even know enough names, like the what the hell's his name, Davey Richards and Petey something, I don't even remember. There's a bunch of guys over there that need help getting over. Austin Aries could definitely do that. He has a history in that company. He has established his name there before. He will be just fine. Cody Rhodes has proved just that. He may be looking forward to taking a vacation and going to the West Coast and maybe dipping his toes in the New Japan pool. For all we know. He sees the writing on the wall. He knows they ain't going to let him go any further than where he is right now. The man asked for his release. That is the reason why the WWE has let him go. It was not their decision. But apparently, as the report stated, the way he's been backstage has made it a very easy decision. And we will no longer be seeing the top banana on WWE TV. Where he goes, nobody knows except for him. And I can't wait to find out when that happens. And when it does, we will be bringing it to you here, just like we always do with the breaking news. This is the third video we've put up today. That's insane. That is a first for this channel. We've never put up 3 videos in one day. We did the Great Balls of Fire preview and predictions. We also did a breaking news report earlier about some of the expansion going on in New Japan Pro Wrestling. A former TNA knockout decides to retire from active competition in the world of professional wrestling. We talk about that there as well. Don't forget to check that out. And why do I think Okada was at Monday Night Raw? Go check that one out. It's all there for your eyeballs right here, as always, on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. on Sledgehammer TV, only available on YouTube.com. Thank you guys once again today for this very, very heavy news day. Thank you for tuning in. I am Nick Nightmare. This is Blue, the Snowball Microphone. And today, all I had to do was wake up and be awesome. And I did that. And you know who else did that? AJ Styles. Congratulations to the new face of America and United States champion, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. And on that note, we are out of here. And we will see you next time, right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Thanks for watching.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.